Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tiravana Chari Jamuna Tiravana Chari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tiravana Chari Jamuna Tiravana Chari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Shri Shri Radha Shyam Sundar ki, Shri Shri Jagannath Baldev Subhadra Mai ki, Shri Shri Gaur Nitai ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Gaur Bhakta Brind ki, Nitai Gaur Premanandi. All glories to some devotees. All glories to some devotees. All glories to some devotees. All glories to the lotus feet Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Jnanati Mirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langaite Girim Yat Kripatam Ham Bande Shri Gurundina Taranam Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Brinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here in ISKCON of New Jersey, Central New Jersey, sorry. It's my first time here, as Prabhu said. I've been to America a number of times before, but not to this part of America. And wonderful to see such a beautiful, lively temple. So many wonderful devotees. I guess attendance is a little lower than usual because yesterday was Rath Yatra, it's raining outside, schools are out, so everyone's on holiday. But still, so many wonderful devotees here. And it's wonderful to be in America because America is such a historic place for the Krishna consciousness movement. when Srila Prabhupada received his green card. It was a long effort. So Prabhupada had more accessibility, easy coming in and out of America. Of course, America is where he began, the movement, the mission. When he got his green card, Tamal Krishna Maharaj said, Prabhupada, we've got it. We've got your green card. You're all set. We can go to America. Everything's ready to go. And then Prabhupada was so touched. He said, I'm so grateful to America. America's given men, America's given Lakshmi, America's given everything for my movement. And Prabhupada started to cry. So Prabhupada was so thankful to America because it gave so much. It gave the basis of the movement. Prabhupada established the movement here. Of course, coming to America was not an easy task. He was in Vrindavan. He was a sadhu. He had everything he needed. He was doing his bhajan. Everything was peaceful. He had a place to stay. What more did he need? Pass your years as a sannyasi in Vrindavan, doing your bhajan, doing some writing, and that was all. But he came to the West, and the West was such an alien place for Srila Prabhupada. So different. He had never been across the 7 seas before, never left India. So of course, coming into America, we know that when he arrived in New York, first he touched base in Boston, and then it went down, the ship came down to New York. Prabhupada got off the ship. He didn't know whether to turn left or whether to turn right. Prabhupada's first visit to the grocery store. He went to the grocery store, and it was, of course, a different setup. In India, the grocery store is just like a little stall, on wheels. Very simple, very basic. This was a whole establishment, a whole building for groceries, so that was alien. And then Prabhupada had to put everything into a basket. And then he went to the cashier. And the cashier's there, however calculates everything, and says, $4.25, sir, or whatever it was. $4.25. And Srila Prabhupada says, how about 3? Because in India, you don't shop without bargaining. Right? We all know that, right? You don't go to Loy Bazaar without bargaining. That's natural. They start high, you start low, and you meet somewhere in the middle. So Prabhupada said, how about 3? She says, $4.25, sir. Prabhupada said, $3.50. And then she explained, sir, there's no bargaining here. We don't bargain. So then Prabhupada reluctantly gave her what she had asked. Mukunda Maharaj tells a story that once he was in a car with Prabhupada. Of course, he was very new at that time. They were in a car together. And Srila Prabhupada has an apple. So he starts biting into the apple. Prabhupada takes a couple of bites. And then he looks at his disciple or disciple-to-be, I'm not sure which. And out of his compassionate mercy, Prabhupada gives him this remnants. And we all know Bhakta Pade Doliyar, Bhakta Pade Jal, Bhakta Bhunkta Avashesha, Tina Mahabal, 3 very potent things. The remnants of a pure devotee, the foot wash and the dust from the lotus feet of a devotee. So Prabhupada thought, let me give my disciple my remnants. So Prabhupada gave his bitten apple to Mukunda Maharaj. Mukunda Maharaj was confused. First time this ever happened to him. People in the West, they don't usually share their apples like this. So Mukunda Maharaj took the apple. He was a little confused. He thought, is this some kind of ritual? So then he took the apple, he took a couple of bites, and then he gave it back to Prabhupada. Prabhupada was, my God, what do I do? So difficult. Prabhupada had a 17-year-old disciple. And she was so enamored by Prabhupada. She went to Prabhupada one day and she said, Prabhupada, or Swamiji probably. She said, can I marry you? Again, Prabhupada's like, my God, So Prabhupada had to undergo so many austerities, so many difficulties for us. And many times I reflect and I think, what if Prabhupada didn't come? Jep Thakur Maharaj has written this bhajan, this beautiful bhajan, Yadi Prabhupada na hoito tabiki hoito. What would happen if Prabhupada didn't come? And all of these wonderful, amazing gifts which we receive, which we have in our lives, which we benefit from on a daily basis, moment-to-moment basis, they just wouldn't be there. And one of those gifts is the Rath Yatra festival also. So many things, temples, Bhagavatam, deity worship, devotee sangha, prasadam, so many wonderful gifts. Another wonderful gift that Prabhupada has given to the world, he's popularized it all across the world, is the Rath Yatra festival. So of course yesterday was a wonderful Rath Yatra festival that we all celebrated in Atlantic City. I also had the fortune of attending, and so wonderful to see the Lord of the universe, Lord Jagannath, surveying his land. And yesterday he was surveying Atlantic City. It's probably not the area he's most proud of, but it's still his land, his arena. And he goes on the chariot surveying the arena. So where does this pastime come from? What is the Rath Yatra? So of course we know that Krishna resides in Vrindavan. And we see in the 10th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, Krishna, he lives in Vrindavan for the first period of his life. And then he moves to Mathura. And then he goes to Dwarka. So when Krishna is in Vrindavan, he's the darling of Vrindavan. Everyone loves Krishna. He's so wonderful. They don't think of him as God, of course. The Vrajvasis are the most inattentive practitioners. They don't worship Krishna, of course. Krishna's just a wonderful blue boy who they're charmed by, who they are in wonder of. He's so cute, so lovable. So their hearts are just overflowing with that love for Krishna. They worship Narayan, Surya Narayan, the various demigods led by Indra. We see it Govardhan Puja, they worship Lord Indra. So they're normal Hindus. Just, if you want to kind of pigeonhole them. But when they're doing their worship, they may be doing an arati of Lord Narayan, but they're so inattentive. The mind is just flowing away. They find it very difficult to focus on their point of worship. Did anyone ever have this experience when you're chanting Hare Krishna, the mind is wandering away? Anyone? Not just me? Yeah? Everyone has this experience, the mind is wandering away. So when the Vrajvasis, they're worshipping Surya, they're worshipping Narayan, they're worshipping the demigods, their mind is wandering away. They're so inattentive. They can't control their minds. They find it very difficult because their mind flows towards Krishna. Krishna and only Krishna. So Krishna is their everything. The mothers, this is a real litmus test. Litmus test, you know this phrase? This is the real test. The mothers love Krishna more than their own children. There is nothing like a mother's love. Prabhupada says it's the purest type of love in this world. But the mothers love Krishna more than even their own children. So when Akrura comes and he takes Krishna away, and Balaram, he snatches them away, the gopis curse Akrura. His name is Akrur. Krur means cruel. Akrur means one who is not cruel. The gopis say, what kind of a name does he have? He's the most cruel one, and yet his name is Akrur. So they're so attached to Krishna, but Krishna says there's one basis upon which the Vrajvasis allow Krishna to go. Krishna says, I'll be back. I will return. We will meet again. This is Krishna's promise. So the Vrajvasis, they say to themselves, okay, Krishna's a bit of a liar. He ate mud, but when Mother Yashoda came to him, he says, Main nahi mati khayo. I didn't eat mati, I didn't eat mud. When he steals butter, again, he says, I didn't steal butter, but he did. But these are white lies, yeah? He wouldn't tell such a big lie. He'll come back. We'll meet again, surely. So this is what the Vrajvasis hold on to, these words, that Krishna says that we will meet again, and therefore we will meet again. There are 10 stages of separation. They get more and more extreme, one by one. The 10th stage of separation, can anyone guess, or does anyone know what the 10th stage of separation is? Meaning the most extreme stage of separation. So Vipralamba is separation. So Vipralamba is a Sanskrit for separation. The 10th stage of Vipralamba is death. Death. So they are so close to death. And one day there's news that there is a solar eclipse. Yeah? A solar eclipse is auspicious or inauspicious? Inauspicious. In the Vedic culture, a solar eclipse is a very inauspicious time. So what must one do? One must go to a holy place, bathe in a holy river, and chant Hare Krishna. This is the prescription. So the Vrajvasis, they hear that everyone is converging to Kurukshetra. Yeah, Dharamkshetra, Kurukshetra. Yeah, so we hear the first verse of the Bhagavad Gita, Kurukshetra is Dharamkshetra. It's the place of great auspiciousness, and therefore many wonderful auspicious activities over aeons have taken place here in Kurukshetra. So everyone begins to converge on Kurukshetra. And at a certain point, the Vrajvasis, they learn that actually Krishna will also be there. Krishna will also be in Kurukshetra. So they're ecstatic, they're so happy. They have the opportunity, just maybe, to see Krishna again after such long separation. Of course, who knows how long? They say, Jugaitam nimishena chakshusha pravishaitam shunyaitam jagat sarvam govinda virahena me. Without Krishna, even a moment is like 12 years or more. This is separation. This is separation. When you feel separation from someone, then a moment sounds like such a long, long, long time. So this is the experience of the Vrajvasis. They haven't seen Krishna for such a long time, and now is the hope. Of course, they didn't have internet. There was no Facebook or, I don't know, Instagram or whatever. That there's pictures. Krishna's on his way to Kurukshetra. But they get the news. And this is what they relied on. They get the news that Krishna will also be there in Kurukshetra. So they become very, very excited. But then they arrive. They arrive in Kurukshetra. And what do they see? That everyone is in Kurukshetra. So many of the great kings of the land have also converged on Kurukshetra. Krishna is there. So Krishna is there. But he's wearing this helmet. He's wearing this armor. His regalia, his kingly regalia. He's the king of Dwarka. He's dressed as a warrior. And he's meeting with various other kings. They're discussing borders, land disputes. They're discussing finance and economics. They're discussing governance, managing and ruling over people. They're sharing ideas and insights. All very formal things. All things which the Vrajvasis have no interest in. They don't want to know about this. And also there's guards which are surrounding Krishna. They don't allow people to go close, especially villagers. They won't allow villagers to come close. Okay, if a king comes to see Krishna, that's another thing. But mere villagers, they won't be able to go close. And the ladies, even less so. Maybe they'll get a little peek of Krishna from far, far away. So Krishna seems so distant. They remember Krishna wearing a beautiful yellow dhoti with a sash as a belt. He has his flute tucked away in his sash. He has a beautiful garland made of forest flowers. He has a beautiful peacock feather. These are the insignia of Krishna. This is what they're attracted to. This is what they're attached to. So even for those who do see Krishna, and of course, they see Krishna, but it's not the same Krishna. It's not the same environment. It's not the same atmosphere. There's not the same interaction. So it's Krishna, but it's not really Krishna. Krishna is their sahachari. Sahachari is a long-lost friend. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sings this song. Priya Soyam Krishna Sahachari Ummilitas. So this is Tathasa Radha. So this is, so we'll come to this verse actually. So Krishna's their loved one. Krishna's so close, but they can't express their feelings, their emotions. Their interaction with Krishna is very, very limited. But then after the solar eclipse happens, everyone's bathed, everyone's chanted, everyone's gone through all of the formalities of observing the solar eclipse. Most people leave. And I don't know if you have this here, but when there's festivals, like I'm from London, you can probably tell that I'm from London, but I live in Hungary, in Budapest. I'm a disciple of Shivram Swami. I lived 10 years at Bhaktivedanta Manor. I grew up with contact with Krishna consciousness. My mother was reading Prabhupada's books daily almost. Bhagavad Gita, some of the smaller books, Krishna books she would read to us regularly. And then I studied economics at Cambridge. I graduated, I worked in banking for 1.5 years, 2 years. And then I moved into the temple at Bhaktivedanta Manor. And then 8 years ago, I moved to Hungary. So now I've been living in Budapest temple. And we have a few huge festivals. Many, many devotees come, and it's a big fanfare. Devotees come from all over Europe. One of our biggest festivals is Radhashtami. So it's very wonderful. So many devotees from all over. But then, you know, it's a 2-day festival, Saturday and Sunday. And then on Sunday, around 8, 9 o'clock, most of the devotees have left because they have work on Monday, they have so many other things to take care of, but only the hardcore devotees stay. And that's really when the festival begins, you know, because then we have Kirtan, and we carry on with Kirtan till 12, 1, 2 o'clock. In the old days when Shivram Maharaj was younger, then we'd carry on to Mangalarti. So that was real festivals with beautiful, amazing Kirtan. It goes to another level, and you think it can't go higher, and then it goes to another level, and you think it can't go higher, and then it goes to even more of another level. So in the same way, when everyone leaves, then the Vrajvasis get a chance to be with Krishna, to really interact with Krishna. So they go onto a little hill. Kurukshetra has quite a few hills. And there's a sweet breeze. It's nighttime, evening. And the Vrajvasis just want to interact with Krishna. But then there's guards surrounding Krishna. You can hear the horses neighing in the background. The guards are there, they're whispering, they're talking. Krishna's moving around, his armor is chinking. It's just not the same. So the Vrajvasis say to Krishna, Krishna, we're here, we're in Kurukshetra. This is not our home. It's not your home. It's not our home. We don't belong here. Where do we belong? We belong in Vrindavan. So please, Krishna, come back to Vrindavan. Please come back with us to Vrindavan. And therefore, with the ropes of love, they begin to remind Krishna of all of the wonderful pastimes they performed, how blissful it was, how everyone was so happy. And with the ropes of love, they pull Krishna to Vrindavan. So this is Rath Yatra. This is actually the meaning of Rath Yatra. This pastime is Rath Yatra. Who is Jagannath? Jagannath is Krishna. And Jagannath is residing in the Jagannath Puri temple. It's called Nilachal. That area is called Nilachal, Blue Hill. And the devotees are pulling Krishna to, it's a couple of kilometers down Grand Road, to Sundarachal, which is the Gundicha temple. This Gundicha temple is named after the wife of King Indradumna from bygone ages. And that Gundicha temple is where Lord Jagannath, Baladev Subhadra will reside. So the Vrajvasis, the devotees, they're pulling Krishna. And this is the meditation. Who pulled the rope yesterday? Who got the chance to pull the rope? Yes. So this pulling of the rope is very auspicious, and the mood of that pulling of the rope is that I'm a Vrajvasi and I want Krishna to return home to Vrindavan. This is the mood, this is the meditation, this is a consciousness with which we pull the rope. So, and we want Krishna to return home to Vrindavan so then they can rejoice and re-enter into the amazing, wonderful, blissful, unrivaled pastimes of Vrindavan. So many people come to Rath Yatra festival with different purposes. For some, it's a social gathering. Okay, I get to meet my old friends. I remember especially when I was in London, then it would be a time when I would meet some devotees once a year. And it was at Rath Yatra. Rath Yatra they wouldn't come to the temple so much, but Rath Yatra was a one time in the year. So I'd spend most of the day speaking to these one time a year devotees. And it was a great time to meet, of course. But it can't stop there. For some, it is just a social gathering. Okay, I get to meet old friends, speak, catch up, talk about what's happening. For some, it may be, okay, I get to watch my kids doing Bharatanatyam on the stage. For others, okay, so I can hear a lecture maybe, I hear a spiritual message, gain some wisdom, maybe some peace and harmony. For others, of course, it's just, and we saw many people like this yesterday, they're just walking by, they're just passers-by, they have no idea, and they just get drawn into the dance, the drama, the music, and the prasadam. But for devotees, Rath Yatra has deep meaning, has deep import. This is a great festival. This is a great festival when the devotees don't just, of course, invite Krishna back to Vrindavan, but for a devotee, his heart is Vrindavan. For a devotee, the heart is Vrindavan, and therefore we are inviting Lord Jagannath, who is Krishna, into the Vrindavan of our hearts. Please, Jagannatha Swami Nayana Patagami Bhavatume, reveal yourself. Who are you, Jagannath? What does this mean? We chant this. Jagannatha Swami Nayana Patagami Bhavat. Please reveal yourself to me. He's Jagannath. He's not hiding. Yes, he is hiding in a way because he's Jagannath, but actually he is Shyam Sundar Krishna. He's Shyam Sundar Krishna. Allow me to see your form as Shyam Sundar Krishna. So when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was in the Rath Yatra festival, then he would be dancing ecstatically. And this was his meditation. Jagannatha Swami Nayana Patagami Bhava Tume, allow me to see you as Krishna, as Shyam Sundar Krishna. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, of course, is Radha Bhavadyoti Savalitam Naumi Krishna Swarupam. He is Krishna with the mood and complexion of Srimati Radharani. And what does Srimati Radharani want to see? Krishna and only Krishna. So this is the mood and the meditation. So when Mahaprabhu was there in front of the Rath cart, he was chanting this verse, Yakkaumara Hara. And it just sounded like a young boy speaking about a young girl. It sounded like a Bollywood song. And no one understood, why is this great sannyasi? Some people, not everyone understood Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to be the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So some people say that he's God himself. Why is he chanting Bollywood songs? What's going on here? They were confused. A few people understood what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's purpose was. There's one traditional Bengali verse that Prabhupada would often quote. Yadyapi se lila kore gaura roy, kaun kaun bhagyavana dekhi bari poi. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is performing his lila, he's performing his pastimes. But there's a few bhagyavan, a few very fortunate people. They can understand the inner meaning of what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is doing. Or, for example, when Mahaprabhu comes to the Panihati festival, Nityananda Prabhu is leading that festival. Mahaprabhu is not there, but then he appears there. but only a few choice associates could actually see that he's there. In the same way, Mahaprabhu was singing this song, but only a few very choice associates like Swarup Damodar Goswami, he could see, he could understand what is Mahaprabhu's mood, what is his intention, why is he singing this song. Chosen ones, those who've been given special mercy. So the next day, Mahaprabhu was visiting Haridas Thakur. Daily, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would go to visit Haridas Thakur and give him the remnants of Lord Jagannath. So when he went, he met Haridas Thakur, and then he saw in the roof, it was a thatched roof. These roofs are made of like straw. He saw a palm leaf, and he took the palm leaf, and the writing was very distinctive. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, it's described, the associates, they describe that Rupa Goswami's writing is like pearls on a string. So beautiful. Perfect handwriting. So instantly they could understand that this is Rupa Goswami's handwriting, and he had written the song Priya Soyam, Krishna Umilitas. So this verse is also very beautiful. I could analyze the verse, but we don't have so much time. So much in these verses, so beautiful. But Mahaprabhu was shocked, because when he read this verse, he saw that this was basically an elaboration on the verse that he was singing in front of Lord Jagannath in the Rath Yatra, and he was shocked. Who knows my mind? How did Rupa Goswami understand my mind, the inner meaning of my meditation? Everyone else was misunderstanding me. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Antaryami, he knows what's going through people's minds. They're thinking he's some sort of materialist in a garb of a sannyasi. But Rupa Goswami could understand his mind. So he asked Swarup Damodar Goswami, how does he know my mind? How does he know? How does he know what my purpose was? So then Swarup Damodar Goswami says, come on, Mahaprabhu, you've given your mercy to him and now you're asking me. So of course we know that Mahaprabhu spent 10 days with Rupa Goswami in Dash Ashwamedh Ghat. And at this time, he instructed Rupa Goswami in the science of devotion. And therefore, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Prabhupada's summary study, the Nectar of Devotion, is very, very important for a devotee, because Mahaprabhu not only instructed him in this science, but he also advised him, guided him on how to, or empowered him to transfer this, to write this, and to disseminate this for generations to come, for unlimited generations to come. So Mahaprabhu had given Rupa Goswami his mercy, and therefore he knew what the meaning of this verse was. So actually, Srila Prabhupada said that we should do Rath Yatra daily, or we can do Rath Yatra daily, because what is Rath Yatra? Rath Yatra is pulling Krishna into our hearts. So many people, they say, well, we have to do Rath Yatra on the day of the Rath Yatra in Puri. And then they criticize Srila Prabhupada because he made Rath Yatra anytime, summertime, anytime, even wintertime in some places. They do Rath Yatra in so many different places. It's because many people don't understand the real art, the real meaning of Rath Yatra. They don't know what we get attached to rules and regulations. We get attached to this is how things should be. But when we really understand the essence of what Rath Yatra is, then we understand that, yeah, we should do Rath Yatra daily. We should do this meditation daily. Let us pull Krishna into our hearts daily by doing Rath Yatra. Let us pull Krishna into our hearts daily by chanting attentively his holy names. Let us pull Krishna into our hearts daily by reading and studying Bhagavatam and other related scriptures. This is Krishna consciousness. This is what Srila Prabhupada wanted us to do. This is how we actually become Krishna conscious. This is how we become real devotees of the Lord. So with this purpose in mind, Srila Prabhupada wrote the Krishna book. He didn't know if he'd finish Bhagavatam. He didn't know if he would reach the 10th canto. And therefore, very early on in the Krishna consciousness movement, Srila Prabhupada did a summary study of the 10th canto in the form of Krishna book. So many beautiful, wonderful pastimes of Krishna. And inspired by that Krishna book, we're here and we're here in America. We're touring around. It's a 3-month tour. We're halfway through. Actually, yesterday was a halfway mark. We've done 1.5 months. We have another 1.5 months to go. And we're sharing the books of, as Prabhu mentioned, Srila Shri Ram Swami. Of course, he read Krishna book many, many times. And so inspired by these pastimes, he started to delve into the writings of the acharyas, of great sage souls of the past. And they've given so much insight, so many beautiful, wonderful, amazing pastimes. There's also so many wonderful oral traditions in Braj, with so many beautiful pastimes. So he's bringing that together and giving so many beautiful leelas, gathas, pastimes of Krishna. They're very rich, they're very deep, they're very beautiful. Just for the Prabhu in the AV room, we'll be playing the video very soon. So if you can get it ready. And these books, there's 2 sets of books. And basically what they do is that the purpose of the books is to bring Krishna into our hearts. The more we hear about Krishna, Krishna's name, form, abode, associates, pastimes, we are so fortunate because we have so much insight into the nature of God. There is no other tradition on the planet which provides more insight into the nature of God in so many multifarious ways. So these books are very, very beautiful. They provide ample hearing and reading material so that we can be absorbed in the topics of Krishna. We often talk about going back home, back to Godhead. It's a wonderful idea. Often it becomes cliche because we've heard it so many times. I want to go back home, back to Godhead. But what does it mean to go back home, back to Godhead? What is the nature of the interactions? What are the moods, the personalities? What are the kind of pastimes that take place there? What are the services? If you go back to Godhead, Prabhu, if you go back to Godhead tomorrow, just say, it can happen. Then what will you do there? What will you do there? So what kind of service? So these books provide so much insight into the nature of the various services. For example, Raghunath Das Goswami has written a book called Vilap Kusumanjali. It's the final book he wrote. He's sitting on the banks of Radhakund for almost 50 years. He's crying and crying and crying. Why is he crying? He's crying because all he wants to do is to serve the divine couple in Goloka Vrindavan. And so he writes his final book. It's his swan song. It's 104 verses. And he's begging, will you allow me to serve you like this? Will you allow me to serve you like this? Will you allow me to serve you like this, like this, like this? And in this way, he's painting a very, very vivid, beautiful, attractive picture of Vrindavan, the nature of Vrindavan, the moods and the services in Vrindavan. And as we hear about the witty talks between Raghunath Das Goswami and the associates of Vrindavan, then Vrindavan becomes so attractive. And then that desire is implanted in the heart. Because of course, who doesn't want to go back to Godhead? Why are we doing all of this chanting, reading, hearing, service? We want to go back to Godhead. One has to ask oneself, to what degree, to what depth is that desire in the heart? A real desire. So if I say, who wants a Ferrari? I'm giving you a free Ferrari right here, right now. You want that Ferrari. There's a desire in the heart. And it's a burning desire. In the same way, we have to develop a burning desire to go back to Godhead. So we have to fuel that fire. How do we fuel the fire? We have to have good sadhu sangha, good association, regular, deep association with Vaishnavas. we have to chant very attentively, and we have to read and hear about Krishna constantly as much as possible. And this is really the process of Krishna consciousness. This is really the process of Krishna consciousness. This is really what these books are about, to give devotees more and more inspiration about Krishna in Vrindavan, so that we can stoke that fire of desire in the heart, so that we can really desire and desire and desire more and more deeply that, yes, I want to go there. This is the goal of my life. And this is where I invest my energies. This is where I focus. And so they're very, very beautiful books. They're very high quality also. So I encourage everyone to please come over and take a look. So this is a short video. If everyone turns towards the screen, this is a short video where the author, Srila Shivram Swami, many of you will have heard of him or know him.
I'm here accompanying Anand Caitanya Prabhu to introduce to you our latest literary offering. This comprises of two sets of books, the Navaraja Mahima and Krishna in Vrindavan series in box sets. So first I'll explain a little what Navaraja Mahima is about. It's in 9 volumes, and the underlying inspiration is Srila Prabhupada's Krishna book. It contains 600 of my favorite pastimes, of course, of Krishna's Vrindavan Leela. And it's projected onto the canvas of New Vrajadam, hence we call it Navaraja Mahima. The 9th volume is a map book that describes the places in which all of these pastimes took place. This is not a children's book, but like Krishna book, it's for children, for adults, for Paramahamsas, and for beginners. And like Krishna book, there's quite a minimum of philosophy. This book took me 5 years to write, so 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. And of course, the production is really high grade. We have first-class paper, gold edging, gold blocking on the artificial leather cover. There are 400 pieces of art within the book, and these books will certainly last you many, many lifetimes. Okay, then let me describe Krishna in Vrindavan.
Bit louder.
And this is based on the Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, Krishna's presence in Vrindavan from 1st to the 39th chapter. Again, the foundation is Srila Prabhupada's own commentaries, as well as those of other acharyas. What's the goal of these books? It's to deepen our absorption in Krishna by hearing his pastimes. The books which are in the set include Song of the Flute, Venu Gita, Napare Hum, Krishna leaving Vrindavan and returning, Damodar Leela, binding Krishna. And while sometimes people ask who is qualified to hear, the answer is certainly anyone can read these books, as anyone can read Srila Prabhupada's books, but we've written 2 books that underline the adhikar, or the qualification for reading, and that is Shuddha Bhakti Chintamani and Sankalpa Kaumudi. These books then culminate in Vilap Kusumanjali, which is the book which I have just written or writing, and that is a commentary on Raghunath Das Goswami's book of the same name. Our purpose here is not to make money. The books themselves are actually subsidized. They do cost quite a bit to write. And our real purpose, my purpose, is that this is my bhajan. And hopefully those who read it, it will be their bhajan. Moreover, Srila Prabhupada wanted us to hear about Krishna because he wanted us to be mad after Krishna. Now, how do you become mad in love after somebody? Well, you have to know them. And how do you know them? well, you hear about them. You hear about Krishna's beauty, his qualities, his pastimes, associates. This, Srila Prabhupada said, is our family business. Writing books, printing them, reading them. And Prabhupada wanted us to replace all the non-Krishna conscious literature of the world with Krishna conscious literature. He wanted his followers to write. As a member of ISKCON, I'm making this an ISKCON-friendly book. They're directly written for devotees of our society. So I consider that this is my service to Krishna, to Srila Prabhupada, to you and your family, and humbly request that you take a set of these books, read them, gift them to others. It's a limited edition print, won't be always available. And finally, I'd like to invite you all to visit us in New Brajadam and see where Radha Shyamasundar are currently enacting all the pastimes that we are writing about in these books. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. I hope everyone could hear that. I think it was... yeah, like Maharaj was saying, the purpose of the books is to really pierce the heart with Krishna consciousness, with the desire to really love Krishna and his pastimes and Vrindavan. So we've been on this tour, like I said, for around 6 weeks. In this time, we've sold 155 sets of each of these books. They're very, very beautiful books. Like I said, afterwards, there's a book table just outside in the foyer. So devotees are welcome to please come over, take a look, and take a set of books. There's a few minutes for questions. Usually I go over, so I'm trying to give a bit of time for any questions or comments. Yes, Prabhu.
So, thank you. Lifetimes of conditioning, Prabhu. In one sense, there is the joy that, like yesterday, we felt association and everything. But then as time goes by, that wanes away, and then it feels like some type of a hypocrisy that I know my heart is black and dark, and I'm doing such a sublime thing. And we're back to our old habits, so to say, struggling with that. So how do we manage this, something so sublime and something so gross, and it's there, in me it's there. So how do we maintain this mood, Prabhu?
Thank you very much for the question, Prabhu. Yeah, I think we're all in a similar boat at the end of the day. We have the deepest, richest, most profound philosophy on the planet. The ideals which Krishna consciousness provides are so deep, so pure. One thing, when I was becoming convinced about becoming a Hare Krishna, at first I thought that when I was young, I thought Krishna consciousness, the ISKCON Hare Krishnas, they're white people trying to be Hindus. This was my conception of what ISKCON was. And of course, around 30 years ago, there weren't so many Indians. In the past 20 years or so many more Indians, both in India as well as outside of India, have joined ISKCON. So this was my conception. I can see some young men laughing. Maybe they have a similar conception now, or did in the past. Anyway, but a few things really hit me. One was, and I'm coming to really answering your question, pinpointing it, or trying to at least. So when I understood that we're proposing pure love of God. So most people, they approach God with a purpose in mind. Okay, I'll worship him, I'll get a good education, I'll get a good job, I'll have a nice partner, I'll have a big house, a nice car, and all of these material things. When I understood that the message here is that I'm meant to worship Krishna, worship God purely, without any desire for anything in return, I thought, yes, this is how I should be approaching Krishna. This is how I should be approaching the person who's given us everything, with purity. Love means to give, means to serve without any desire for anything in return. So when I understood that message, I thought, wow. But it's a tall order. It's a high level. And when we look at our hearts, we see, wow, I've got some way to go. But this is the nature of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy. We describe that he's, thrown open the storehouse of the love of God. And the most fallen deserve the mercy the most. This is his conception. So Kali Yuga, the people of Kali Yuga, there's been Satya Yuga, there was Treta Yuga, there was Dwapara Yuga, and now there's Kali Yuga. So we say, really, we're scraping the bottom of the barrel, right? The bottom of the barrel. We're the bottom of the barrel. So, okay, fine. Still, I desire. So Narottam Das Thakur, he says, like a dwarf trying to grab the moon. And I really love this meditation. I feel like a dwarf. So a dwarf is especially short. Not a man, a dwarf trying to grab the moon. Narottam Das Thakur says that this is how he feels. But still, I desire. I desire. Because this is the nature of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy. He's come to deliver, to help, to give mercy to the most fallen. What our part is that we sincerely, deeply have to try our best. Once Srila Prabhupada was walking through the park. It was actually St. James's Park in London. And they went in the park, they went past some ducks. And Prabhupada looked around and he said, does anyone have any bread for the ducks, to feed the ducks? It was a morning walk. So who's going to be carrying some bread, or when you're going for a japa walk at 6 a.m. in the morning? So the next day, again, they went on a japa walk. They took the same route, and Prabhupada saw the ducks again. And then Prabhupada looked around to his disciples who were joining him. They said, does anyone have any bread? And everyone's looking, we forgot, because so many things going on during the day. There was one devotee. They had brought some bread. So Prabhupada was pleased. He took the bread and he started to feed the ducks. And then Prabhupada started just to give the bread to one duck. Just one of the ducks. So many ducks, but he was specifically, purposefully giving it to one duck. And then the disciples asked, we have these theories of equality, everything should be fair. Give to all of the ducks. So why is Prabhupada being so, why is he showing favoritism to this one duck? What's special about this one duck? Prabhupada said, this duck is quacking the loudest. Quacks the, sorry, I didn't hear, sorry, Machi. This duck is quacking the loudest, and therefore he gets the mercy. So this is how Krishna also works. He sees how loud are we quacking. Krishna doesn't care about our hearts, actually. He sees how enthusiastic, how desirous, how much am I... He says, Sarva dharmam pritija mame kam sharanam braja. How much is a devotee ready to surrender to me? How much does he have the desire to come to me? And everything else, aham tvam sarva papebhyo moksha yashyami masuchaha. Don't worry. Don't worry, that's irrelevant. What is in the core of our hearts? What are we cultivating? What is our desire? Shishi Radha Shyam Sundar ki, Shishi Dagna Baldeswara Bhadrama ki, Shishi Gauranitai ki. What do we want? What are we cultivating in our hearts? Everything else will dissipate. That's no problem. The closer we come to Krishna, everything else will go. We have to be enthusiastic. Who's quacking the loudest? So we have to ask ourselves, how loud am I quacking? When you're chanting, you have to quack. We have to quack loud. And I'm not talking about how loud we chant, but from deep within our hearts, you've got to be quacking. Yeah. So just remember that tomorrow morning, remember the duck in St. James's Park. I could say so much more, Prabhu, but is that okay for now? Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Is there one more question? Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for wonderful pastimes of Krishna and Prabhupada. Very captivating. Prabhuji, you used one term when you're describing the worship being done by Vrindavan Vasis. They were worshipping Narayan and Surya Narayan. So can you describe and elaborate a little more on Surya Narayan part? Is worshipping Surya Narayan still a demigod worship, or that, and how is that Narayan term coming in Surya Narayan?
Sure. So, in Vrindavan, they are traditionalists. So they worship many demigods. They worship Surya Narayan because Surya has Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that the sun and the moon are his eyes. So Surya has a very special position in our tradition. There is, of course, the Surya of the earthly planet. There is a Surya in the heavenly planets. There is a Surya in Vaikuntha. And then there is an original Surya in Goloka Vrindavan. So just like Krishna has an incarnation in Vaikuntha, he is Narayan. And then he appears. He appears in the different realms, in different ways, in different forms. In the same way, Surya also appears in different forms. So Surya Narayan is the Vaikuntha Surya. And the Vrajavasis worship him. They worship Narayan. So he's a Surya in Vaikuntha. They worship Lord Narayan from the Vaikuntha planets. They worship the various demigods, but they do not worship Krishna. In short. Yeah? Anything else? I guess we're done with time. Okay, one last question, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. So you mentioned about the Kurukshetra, the Vrajavasis going there, but seeing Krishna in armor and the ornaments he was wearing and making sounds. What was the realization of the Vrajavasis? Because he was looking very different and he was protected by all the guards and all that. So what was their realization and how did they still continue to be remembering the Krishna of Vrindavan?
So Krishna is Krishna. They were so happy to see Krishna from one point of view. But Krishna in Vrindavan is special. So it says, Vrindavanam prityaja padam ekam nagachati. Krishna never leaves Vrindavan. That is the original Shyam Sundar Krishna. He is the most complete. Krishna in Dwarka is complete. Krishna in Mathura is more complete. Purnatara. There's Purna, Purnatara, and then there's Purnuttama, the most complete. So Krishna in Vrindavan is most complete. Outside of Vrindavan, Krishna generally, there may be exceptions, but outside of Vrindavan, Krishna has four characteristics which he does not show outside of Vrindavan. This is Venu Madhurya, Krishna's beautiful, wonderful flute playing. Chapter 21 of the 10th canto describes the maddening effect of Krishna when he plays his flute. Number 2, Rupa Madhurya, Krishna's form, his beauty is unrivaled when he's in Vrindavan. He's so blissful, he's so happy. When you're happy, then you look even more beautiful. Yeah? So Krishna's beauty is there. Then his Venu, and then his pastimes. Leela Madhurya, Krishna's beautiful, wonderful pastimes. There is nothing like Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan. There's a personality called Raghupati Upadhyay, and he says, Shyamameva param rupam puri madhupuri vara vayam keshorakam dhyayam adyam eva parorasa. He summarizes what is Vrindavan and what is attractive about Vrindavan. Of all rupas, Shyam Sundar is the most beautiful. Puri Madhupuri Vara. This place which is called Madhupuri, Vrindavan is called Madhupuri. Why? Because it's dripping with sweetness. Madhurya, like honey. So sweet. Then Vayam, Keshorakam. Which age? Krishna has many ages. Balya, 0 to 5. Pauganda, 6 to 10. And then Kaishore, 11 to 16, 15. This is the age that one should meditate on. Rupa Goswami goes even further to say there's 11 to 12, 13 to 14, and then 15 to 16. 15 to 16 is the prime. And then Adya Eva Paro Rasa, that one should meditate on the Adi Ras, the Madhurya Ras. So, Leela Madhurya, Krishna's wonderful, beautiful pastimes are so attractive. Other pastimes are wonderful also, but these are the most wonderful because they steal the heart. And then finally, it is Prema Madhurya, the loving relationships between Krishna and his devotees, the love between them. In Dwarka, there's a lot of formality. Rukmini worships Krishna. She's his wife, but she worships Krishna. Everyone in Dwarka, they bow down to him. He's a king. That creates a distance. You may have people who work under you at work. They respect you, they listen to you, they want to keep their jobs. Then you have your friends, they slap you on the back and say, hey, how's it going? And then you have your wife and children. And there's a special intimacy, greater and greater intimacy. Krishna's Prema Madhurya is unrivaled in Vrindavan. So these things really set him apart from Dwarka. So when the Vrajvasis see Krishna in Dwarka, they're so happy, in Kurukshetra, they're so happy to see him. At the same time, Venu Madhurya, Leela Madhurya, Prema Madhurya, Rupa Madhurya is just not the same. So they're happy, blissful. At the same time, they're disappointed. So they say, Krishna, come, let's go home. You remember? So long ago, you were there with us in Vrindavan and we performed so many wonderful, blissful pastimes there. Let's go home, away from all of this. There's a Yamuna river, there's Kadamba trees, there's groves, there's so many wonderful places. Let's go back home and there we can perform pastimes. So then later on, Krishna says, I will come. I just have a little bit more work to do. He has to kill Dantavakra. He has some official duties to do. So soon after the Kurukshetra meeting, it's described Krishna does return to Vrindavan and everyone's desires are satisfied. Because not only the Vrajvasis miss Krishna, but Krishna also really misses the Vrajvasis. Krishna consciousness is a two-way street. It goes both ways. And this is what's amazing. It's not just that we love Krishna, but Krishna also really, really, really loves us. Little old us. Insignificant, not so pure us. Krishna also loves us so much. Thank you so much for your time and attention. Srila Prabhupada ki, ISKCON of Central New Jersey ki, Gaura Bhakta Brinda ki, Nittai Gaur Premanandi.
Hare Krishna. So let's thank